Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Welcome to the Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum, financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Being a member of CAM myself, as a business, I'm able to then understand who the different players in manufacturing in Kenya are. Many times we're told, these subcontracting opportunities from the bigger manufacturers for SME. This time it's also the other way around. We're giving them work. We're actually subcontracting to them to make stuff that we can use for our collections and our brands and for our customers. I believe in the last 2 months, I have personally signed up 12 new CAM SME members. More and more are going into manufacturing now, and we are welcoming them. We keep repeating, keep encouraging them to join us so that together we are stronger and we do change this country.
For a very long time, African states no longer wanted to be like guests invited to dinner and forced to follow a predetermined menu. They wanted to play an active part in designing the agenda of trade, negotiations, and shaping their results. The journey began. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. The African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, holds a lot of promise for businesses and other stakeholders who are likely beneficiaries of this continental trade agreement. By boosting intra-African trade, AfCFTA has the potential to increase intra-Africa trade from 15%, representing $50 billion in 2017, to 25%, that is $70 billion by 2040. Kenya's intra-African exports are also set to grow by $140 million, with 58% of this being destined for Ethiopia and 19% to Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are watching from, East Africa and around the world, I take this opportunity to welcome you to the Syspro CAM. Syspro CAM SME Virtual Forum. That's it. Financing SMEs to participate in the African Continental Free Trade Area. So really the big question remains, what are the benefits of such a free trade agreement? Absolutely enormous, there's no question about it, on a larger scale. But really, what about for SMEs? What about for SMEs? Are there direct benefits and opportunities for SMEs? You see, SMEs have continued to highlight access to finance as a key inhibitor of their prosperity. If we provide access to finance to SMEs, would they be able to participate in the AfCFTA? Ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the issues we seek to explore in this virtual forum. My name is Johnson Mwakazi, and I will be your moderator for the better part of the event. But right now we want to find out who is watching us and from where. So please grab your phone. We're going to use a very simple tool called Menti. So all you have to do, just grab your phone wherever you are. Get your phone. And I need you now to quickly go to www.menti.com. Just go to www.menti.com and you will see a code. It will ask you for a code. The code is in fact, you've already seen something will be coming up later on, but please use this code, www.menti.com. Use the code 50812390. That is the code, 50812390.
2390. You will see a thumbs up sign. Just click on it and we'll be set. And I can see one person is already there. Well done. This is open to everybody. Everybody, please. Just grab your phone, go to www.menti.com and use the code 50812390. Fantastic. I can see about 4 people, 5 people. And by the way, if you're doing this right, we are not here just going to talk about sweet things. There's an African proverb that says, are we ready? Okay, let's keep on. Menti.com. Use the code 50812390. The African proverb says, words can be sweet, but they will never take the place of food. Today, ladies and gentlemen, if you're doing this right, you send us the responses. We have a lunch voucher for you. We'll be talking about that later on. So you need to really get into this. www.menti.com. Use the code 50812390. Fantastic. Now we want to move on very quickly because of time. You're on, okay. So what type of organization do you represent? What type of organization do you represent? If you're still joining in, it's www.menti.com. Code is 50812390. It's on your screen, and I can see SMEs leading. That's why we are meeting here. This is your day. Okay. Government is also coming up. Corporate is coming second. Financial, fantastic. This is good. All right, so very quickly we move on. Now we have an understanding that indeed the bulk of those joining us online are SMEs. So let's move on to the next one. What are your expectations regarding the AfCFTA? What are your expectations? Now this is the drill. Write your name, where you're watching us from, and your expectation. So if it was me, I'd say Johnson, Nairobi, Kenya. Expectation to realize the Africa we want. So in that format, please write it that way, because we want to know your name, where you're watching us from, and ultimately your expectation. So somebody says here, growth. Okay, that's good. Norton from Kisumu, Kenya. Well done. Realize the Africa we want. Fantastic. Linda from Nairobi, Kenya. Better cooperation. Dafus Ngeny from Nairobi, Kenya. Expectation to be able to trade without board barriers across Africa. Well done. Grace from Nairobi. Financial growth in a business. Lisa from Mombasa, Kenya. Erasing borders. Julia Ngahu. Learn the funding options for SMEs so that we can prop up our economy. Dan Odera from Kitale. Increased inter-border trade. Understanding the role of governments in supporting our SMEs. Now, if you're writing very well, we may just, in the next one, we will give you a lunch voucher, so you don't want to miss that. But very quickly, continue on. Let's see those comments. Let's see those comments coming. Okay, so we continue on. I can see Edith from Nanyuki, for Africa to realize their potential in manufacturing. Fantastic. Rebecca Mora from Eldoret, to discover exactly what policies AfCFTA is putting in place to ensure SMEs benefit from intra and cross border trade. GEM, Nairobi, Kenya, financing opportunities, reduce trade barriers between African countries. Solomon from Nairobi, Kenya, access to finance and verifiable external markets. Wow, thank you so much for those comments. Keep them coming, because in the next session, we will definitely get vouchers for the people who are following instructions as required. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue on now to get into the nitty-gritty of why we are here, I want us to focus our attention to the reason why we are here just before we get the opening remarks.
The AfCFTA is an agreement between the African countries that gives traders, business people, service suppliers an opportunity to engage in borderless trade. You can supply your commodities or services across other African countries under less stringent conditions to the current regime we have now. So a DJ or an artist will be able to move across borders to supply their services where the rules are a bit more relaxed under a framework. There are very many opportunities for young people in the AfCFTA. We know that young people are very innovative, very eager to explore. We have a very high mobile penetration rate in Kenya. With this, we also have a very high internet penetration and digital literacy. So I believe the youth have an asset in this regard. You don't really need liquid money to exploit opportunities, but whatever skill you have, you can showcase through the internet, and there will be an e-commerce platform that will be prepared for the youth, and there will also be an information sharing platform which will show you where there are business opportunities that need to be exploited. So we need to take advantage of this, strike the iron while it's still hot, and you will be able to generate employment, which is one of the major concerns of youth in Kenya today. You don't need to be employed because there are very many opportunities that will be availed through the Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
Indeed, the opportunities are there. And ladies and gentlemen, without a doubt, any business below 250 million shillings is worth support in terms of grants and enhanced support. CUM is at the forefront of advocating for a competitive business environment. And to take the conversation forward, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome CUM Head of Consulting and Business Development, Ms. Joyce Njogu. She is involved in driving strategy and growth for manufacturing businesses through capacity building, promotion of trade and investment, green growth and climate change, skills and youth employment, SME development, corporate governance, policy advocacy, and championing sustainable development goals in industry for the attainment of inclusive, green, and circular economy. Welcome, Ms. Njogu.
Thank you, Mwakazi. Good morning to you all. We are quite excited as the Kenya Association of Manufacturers to be able to share these opportunities around what we are doing to support industries to become competitive in this country. We know that the Kenya Association of Manufacturers was established in 1959 to create a common voice for manufacturing value-add industries and also advocate for a competitive business environment. It's our role currently to promote sustainable and innovative local manufacturing that then can be able to access the rest of the world in terms of markets. I constantly hear that SMEs want finance. As CUM, we've done a lot of research in supporting our SMEs, those in manufacturing. And we've analyzed a lot of issues around their needs. And the number one need actually is information. And this session is one of those sessions that provides information to SMEs. And once you have the information, what do you do with that information? Then you use that to create your own opportunities around how you can commercialize that information, and that's when market access becomes key to us. Once you have a market, then you have challenges around how do you access those markets, who will support you in accessing, and that's where finance comes in. So access to finance is a good one. That's just a punchline to start, but I wish to recognize the presence of the Principal Secretary, State Department for Trade and Export and Enterprise Development, Ambassador Johnson Wero. I'm very proud to say that he has supported us as manufacturers for many years to have diplomatic relations, economic diplomacy in different parts of the world, and we have benefited a lot from his vast knowledge in terms of international trade, and we are grateful to have him join us this morning. I want to also recognize the senior advisor from Africa Export-Import Bank, Emeka Uzomba. Also, the head of solutions, Ms. Dada Fryer from Syspro Africa, and Sirensis Africa MD, Mira Shah, and all our members, our SMEs, and all the other viewers and those joining us this morning. And thanks also to the media that is supporting spread of information about the opportunities we have. Of course, it's a great pleasure that we have continuous forums where we engage our SMEs to be able to let them participate also in the opportunities that are available, one of the biggest now being the African Continental Free Trade Area. We've just had the African market, the Africa we want, has about 1.2 billion people. That's our consumer market we are looking at. We currently also have a GDP of about $3.4 trillion that we are looking at in terms of business opportunities and contribution in the sector. We are proud of the fact that it was opened this year in January, and besides goods and services, we are forgetting to say even people. We would love to move around Africa, know more about Africa. It's also an opportunity for people to move around Africa without visas and all those challenges. So we are working towards you going to any part of Africa, whether by road, rail, air, and those who like riding bikes can just ride from North Egypt down to South Africa and enjoy, from tourism to trading and also sharing your skills and knowledge. For us, this launch is a big deal for us. As manufacturers, we have been engaging within the EAC region to first of all harmonize most of the tariffs there so that we can trade within EAC. Once that has been happening, we have COMESA that we've also been enjoying access to the markets around there. And we are looking now to expand to the rest of Africa, knowing those opportunities are going to mean a lot even to our SMEs. Other opportunities that are arising very quickly is around partnerships with other business membership organizations, manufacturers within the region. And the first time we had the Inter-Africa Trade Fair in Egypt in 2019, we had our first meeting of manufacturing associations across Africa. And we agreed together with the Minister for Trade in the AU, African Union, that we need to also have a strong private sector driving integration of Africa into how we benefit from the opportunities arising, SMEs being key to it. And the value chains, the regional value chains that come up are going to be an advantage to us at low cost. We know that a lot of us, especially in beauty products, we get our cocoa from Ghana. Those who are doing food, we get nuts from Tanzania. We get coconuts. We don't have enough raw materials to expand our production capacity. So we need each other in Africa to access all those raw materials as well as also sell to those markets to be able to benefit. As SMEs, we also know that we need aggregator strategies to work together to build economies of scale and then access those markets within Africa. So whether you're looking at different regional economic communities or looking at the whole of Africa, we welcome SMEs to see this as a bigger opportunity. I must say there are challenges currently. As much as the market has been opened, there's still a lot of tariff liberalization going on, and this will take some time. We're anticipating around 10 years for it to be a truly free market across different products and services. We have challenges around underdeveloped transport systems. You know that in Europe, you can access country to country by just one rail line, and you get there in a very short time. In Africa, it is a challenge, and I know a lot of countries are working hard to build those interconnectivities. Once that is sorted, then it will be cheaper and more competitive to manage the logistical arrangements around how we move our products, goods, services, and also people. We have overlapping memberships. that sometimes have brought challenges. We know SADC, we have one country here between SADC and EAC, which is overlapping. COMESA alone has about 6 to 8 overlapping memberships. So such things, again, bring challenges around protectionist measures, as well as the kinds of products and services that can access liberalization, liberalized tariffs. Of course, we also have unfamiliar customs and administrative procedures. You could make progress across 3 countries, and in the 4th, again, you find some of the customs are not harmonized, or we are not familiar with those, and specifically SMEs don't have the muscle and the experts to support with that. But at CAM, we have the SME Hub, as well as our Exports Development Program, where we've partnered with people like Proba to be able to take our industries to these markets. And we've been penetrating especially those markets that are low in production capacity and also high consumption capacity, like Congo. Those are big markets for Kenya. And we've been able to get our industries to get there and take advantage of the consumer market that is growing, and also those markets that are heavy on imports. Kenya has been able to challenge. So as CAM, we've been able to take our members also to Mozambique, to access Southern African market, to Ethiopia. We have different bilateral agreements that are not necessarily working, but now with the African Continental Free Trade Area, we will reduce all those challenges and protectionist measures even within bilateral agreements. We know we have some countries that are highly industrialized, like the Southern African side, like South Africa itself, Egypt, and others that are going to help us also to become more competitive. So for SMEs, we've come up with tailor-made solutions to be able to support them, handhold them, build their capacity to be competitive. Just most recently, we worked with Keproba to help them look at their product quality, product diversification strategies, branding and packaging that would then be able to help them access markets, not just locally and in the region, inclusive of the European market and the American markets, Asian markets, so that they can compete and be able to gain some value out of their business. We know that we want to change livelihoods, we want to create wealth, we want to create jobs, we want SMEs and the young people to be included in the economic growth of this country, and that's why some of these opportunities are very important to come, and we shall do our best to handhold SMEs. Now, when it comes to access to finance, there are many aspects around that, whether it's to support the supply chains or cash flows or just insurance aspects or just any other aspect within financial services or financial solutions are a major boost for SMEs. We are looking to partner with people like Syspro and many other partners that we've been partnering with, banks that have regional presence that can support our members to access finance, not just while in Kenya, but also in those regions, and help them even with trade negotiations, understanding their balance within their financial balances, and even be able to build partnerships with the right people who they can share the same financial solutions and eventually be able to succeed in their business ventures, be able to participate in the global trade, as well as create wealth, create jobs, and then create a better world for all of us. That's the Africa we want. And while CAM has the manufacturing priority agenda, SME is at the core of that agenda, where they are the future of manufacturing, and we seek to grow them. You also know that they employ majority of the people, not just in Kenya, but globally. So SMEs are a big economic activity. They contribute heavily to the economic activities of this world, and that is our biggest agenda as to why we have to put all efforts to engage them. I want to thank all our partners, all the people that we work with to support SMEs, from development partners, the banks, the retail stores, as well as the government that has been very critical in supporting us, revamp the policies around how we support SMEs, the legal and regulatory environment that is there to promote SME development, as well as the governance structures that we are working along to make sure SMEs are included and productive, as well as also the women. Through our Women in Manufacturing platform, we make sure that they are also being supported within these ventures. Asanteni sana, and thank you very much. Have a lovely webinar. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much indeed, Ms. Njogu. It's clear we need each other in Africa. Though it will take about 10 years, this is a big opportunity. SMEs are the future of manufacturing. Thank you so much indeed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the world is evolving, and we must say yes to next. Creating competitive advantage, creating new business models, and improving customer experience are critical areas businesses should take into consideration when determining what they want to achieve from their digital transformation journey. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker specializes in understanding customer requirements and driving product improvement within the African continent. She has worked in software licensing, support, enterprise resource planning, ERP projects, and she has a passion for solving challenges, always looking for the opportunity to bring technology, people, and business together. I am talking about Syspro Africa Head of Solutions, Ms. Deirdre Fryer. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, and many thanks for partnering with us in making sure that we have this particular session. The floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you, Johnson, so much. I really appreciate the welcome, and welcome to everyone this morning. You know, as Syspro, we are an ERP provider, and really at this time, I think life is so exciting. There's so much opportunity happening, and really, if we look at the focus of this morning, it really is, it's a time and a starting point of just really considering expansion and growth and new opportunities. So we're really so happy to be here this morning. We're happy to be participating and being able to engage and talk and collaborate with everyone online this morning. And really just also to be in partnership with Kenya and the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. We've had a partnership for quite some time. And as a ERP provider, you know, our core focus is to work with and really specialize and help manufacturers and distributors function effectively and optimally within their business. And so really very excited to be part of this journey and be part of this conversation as we step into this world of openness and free trade and really which does drive into opportunity. So we'd like to thank everyone for participating. We'd like to thank the speakers for joining us this morning, and really just everyone that is participating in the conversation of how we go forward. From a Syspro perspective, we really are excited to be joining this journey with manufacturers and exploring options and opportunities of how we can grow and support each other in the future of what we want Africa to be. I think for many people, this opportunity is an exciting one. We've talked about it across African countries for so many years, and to finally have it coming forward and actually becoming available and for us to start planning how we implement this across the continent is really just, it's an exciting time, and there's just so much opportunity to be had. So really happy to be here today and really be participating in this event and with everyone. So thank you so much. Listening to Ms. Joyce Onyogu, I love her enthusiasm, and I love the enthusiasm that the CAM Association helps us bring with manufacturers in the conversation, because there is so much opportunity to come. But in all new things, as we are trying to help SMEs take the next step and really prepare for what the AfCFTA is going to introduce for us, it really does require us to be able to ramp up quite quickly and really just be able to excel to businesses to a point that we can very quickly accommodate and really handle the requirements needed to build our manufacturing economies. And so with that, we really are in a point in a reality at the moment where we just know technology is the only way, one of the only ways that can really enable us as businesses to be agile and flexible and really just make sure we're in a position to support when Johnson did the introduction, thank you so much. There was reference to the fact that we want to be able to build, and we want to be able to grow quickly, and we want to be able to make sure that we are offering our customers the best customer experience. But at the same time, we also want to make sure that our businesses are being enabled to be effective and our quality is intact, and that we really are able to respond quite quickly as the market needs change and the requirements change. And this is really where technology wants to come in and really try and help manufacturers and SMEs get into that position where we can use it to springboard ourselves and actually accelerate our journey into the manufacturing space and into this growth and expansion. So I just want to touch a little bit on when we look at what the African Continental Free Trade Area is introducing for us, what does this really mean from a business context, and where does technology actually really try and help us bring this all together? So we are looking at trading across borders. We're looking at trading goods across borders, services, the concept of people trading without visas and limitations. And so there's a lot of different opportunities and mindset changes that are opening up, which in the past were hindrances or potentially bottlenecks or constraints that are now really opening up a little bit of that freedom. So when we really look at it, we're quite excited about it. We know that currently, according to the World Economic Forum, Africa accounts for just 2% of global trade. And we have so much potential to do so much more. And so really what this is going to allow us to do is hopefully increase that percentage and make us a lot more of a prominent provider of global goods and global services. We are very excited that 55 of the countries have also one of the largest free trade areas now in the world. So with this coming in, it does make us give us the biggest opportunity by being the largest free trade area and really breaking down those borders and those limitations. And the outcome of that should be positive economic outcomes. We should be able to see the economic change and benefit from that as countries and really help each other grow and expand, and ultimately help reduce poverty across the continent by creating more jobs, by being able to put more businesses into place and creating industries. We should see a good positive result of the reduction of poverty as well. When we look at all the reasonings that we see across why this agreement is so important, this framework is so important. And I think on the pandemic and what we have experienced over the last 18 months to 2 years with COVID being explored across the world, is it really put a highlight, put a spotlight on the importance of this for us. Because when we have constraints and we have that bottleneck to be able to get goods and services, we saw supply chains being hindered. We saw supply chains being stopped and slowed down because suddenly importing and exporting was not available and applicable. So I think the pandemic has really highlighted for us more than ever the importance of this for us as a continent and how we can really use this to grow as countries and really build our economies going forward and put ourselves in a sustainable situation as well going forward. And so with that in mind, when we think about what is happening with this, we are looking at reimagining of supply chains. We are looking at new industries. In the past, if an SME wanted to go into a specific product line or range or offering, you first had to make sure you could get the raw materials. If you listen to what Joyce said, sometimes those access to raw materials were not available in country. You had to go out of country. And even though it was another country on the same continent, because there wasn't free trade opportunities, there were additional costs. There were tariff costs, there's export costs, there's import costs, and there were all those additional that just added to the cost of SMEs and manufacturers. And so with this, what we'll now be able to see is new industries can create themselves to make themselves available to other markets, which will see new industries formed in countries because they now have easier access and easier contribution of products and raw materials. it will open up new opportunities. Suddenly trading between one business and another business, even though we're in different countries, becomes easier. That collaboration becomes easier, and the cost sharing also becomes reduced and a lot more beneficial. It allows us to have that opportunity for new partnerships and really not limit ourselves into certain areas, but really explore all the different opportunities available across the continent, which really does talk to expansion. And expansion is really, I think, what everyone really wants to see our economies doing. We want to see that growth. We want to see that expansion of our manufacturing markets. We want to see that expansion of business to be able to become a gross supplier to the rest of the world. And as a continent, we really have this opportunity. And by introducing this, we are really helping to lower costs to businesses, because we are taking some of those additional fees away with the free trade opportunity, which I think is really exciting for all of us. And added to this, it really helps business reduce complexity. There's less to worry about. Have we got all the right documentations? Is it going to get held up at a border? Are they going to apply additional duties or fees and things like that? And so a lot of this potentially starts to become reduced, and that ability to trade becomes easier and quicker, which really, I think, allows SMEs to be able to be in that position to start expanding and really start exploring opportunity. And the one thing I love that Joyce mentioned in her intro as well was just, especially in Kenya, I'm very sad I have to do this online because I love coming to visit Kenya, but thanks to technology, I am able to discuss and participate with everyone today. But Kenya really does have a lovely skill set. The youth really are. There's a lot of education and enablement, and there's the right skill sharing. So this, I think, also the fact that we can now share services as well across countries, and we can start to leverage each other's skill sets without actually physically potentially having to have those constraints that we don't have when we're in a free trade environment, I think really does also allow the youth to drive that unemployment factor as well. And I think that that's really, really exciting that we can start to leverage each other's skill sets across countries. And really from a technology perspective, if you didn't know it, we are in a world of Industry 4.0. And when we look at a world of Industry 4.0, what we have to understand is businesses are driving everything to be efficient. We have to be efficient in what we do. We have to be responsive. We have to get our lead times quick. And we have to really aim for simplicity. You know, when we talk about a customer experience, we talk about a customer journey, or we talk about working in collaboration, but from a business to business perspective, we needed to try and be as simple as possible so that there are no blockers or constraints in our engagements and our collaborations. And we really need visibility as well as to where things are, what is happening, what are the statistics, what are my costs, you know, where is my information and my goods, and are we making a difference? Are we seeing that growth that we project? And so a lot of what we want to achieve in an Industry 4.0 space is about when we are moving goods, when we are moving services, when we are moving information from a business to another business, are we able to do this efficiently and simplistically? And very often technology helps us to do just that. So we do see that technology and business, this is a really big pivotal point for us where we can come together and really support each other in the journey of growth and expansion, and really look to make sure that we are holding the integrity of what this framework is introducing for us as well. There is a big question around the integrity of opening up free trade. Does this heighten our risk for fraud? Does it heighten our risk for, you know, illegal transactions happening? But when we back this framework with the technology, and we use technology to help businesses drive the collaboration and the communication and that traceability and visibility, what we really do is we ensure that the integrity and the purpose of what this is trying to do is held intact, and that we are seeing a success out of it, and not really a risk factor, but really a benefit to our continent and to the Africa community. So with technology coming in and looking at a business having so many moving parts, if we are looking at a business now with free trade where my business is based, for example, in Kenya, but maybe I'm sourcing my goods from Ghana, but that's part of now my business as well. Can we easily see those moving parts? How do we bring it together when we're not all sitting in the same space, in the same office, in the same points? And this is really what an ERP and software aims to do for business, is bring together all our different moving parts that are happening across the organization, whether it's my sales happening in a store or my purchasing happening in the back office or my team in the factory that are making and producing. Every single one of them is playing a pivotal part in the business, and they're contributing to a moving part of that organization. And what we really want to try and do with software is make sure that our physical reality is being mimicked and transferred into a virtual reality. And this is where business software really comes to enable us, so that at any point in time, virtually in our software as a business, we can see what is going on in our organization. Where are our goods? Where are our sales? Where is our product? When is it coming in? And how do we help manage and make sure we can effectively transfer that information? So when we look at what the agreement and the framework is going to be doing, it is going to directly impact in a really good state our supply chains. We have to look at what the impact of our inbound. Suddenly our purchasing opportunity expands, where predominantly we maybe were limited to certain purchases because that was all we had available to us for sourcing of goods or raw materials. That suddenly, that pool of opportunity is opened. We've now got 55 different countries that we can explore to find the right provider of potentially our raw materials. So on the inbound side of our supply chain, we really are going to see quite a big shift and a lot of decision changes in how we look at this part of the supply chain changing for our businesses. On the operational side, once we've got it in, obviously our costs and how quickly we can get those lead times changed. And if we are going to cross-share production facilities now, and are we going to leverage each other's wealth and skill sets and opportunities in our operations, so that ultimately we can get to an outbound position where we are either distributing locally or we are distributing and now exporting our goods to the rest of the globe. And I think this is really exciting because it really does start to change the conversation of what is our supply chain going to look like? What is the Africa supply chain we want? And what impact is this having on that Africa supply chain? How is it going to change our inbound decisions? How is it going to change our outbound decisions? And where can we leverage that opportunity? And so when we look to software, what software helps us to do in this particular instance is we really want to make sure that when we are doing sourcing and procurement decisions for our inbound of our supply chain, are we exploring all our market opportunities? Software can help us make the right decisions. Potentially, we want to go with a free trade partner. I want to know who my free trade partners are, and I want to make them potentially my first choice above another partnership. I want to see that my free trade is really allowing me to impact my direct and my indirect costs. Software helps us bring these costings up. So as we're making live real-time decisions, we've already got that availability. And if we can start to use software even to integrate our business platforms and make that available end to end, we really just start sharing information easier so that we can start to make quicker decisions with businesses and across businesses to really leverage our opportunity. We want to see our lead times reduced. I love the utopia, the dream of having an endless railway that connects every single country on the continent of Africa, because we could straight away see from a business perspective how that lead time would reduce, getting someone, even a service there quicker, to be able to very quickly achieve my customer need and requirements makes a big difference around lead times and reductions. But just as much, we could use air trade just as easily as well to help us get things there quicker. And now that there's less potential bottlenecks of going through tariffs and duties and all those other things, we should see a benefit. And how can we leverage this reduction of lead time across countries and across transactions? And ultimately, it is about traceability and tracking, knowing where we got things from, being able to know where we sourced them from, what was the type of quality, because even though I'm potentially sourcing from another country, I want to know where that originated from and be able to have that full track and how they're actually adding value as well in their purchasing decisions of products that they choose, where that originated from as well. So tracing and tracking as we open this up also becomes quite crucial. And so we will see a lot of utilization of IoT devices potentially coming in, but then how do we use software to help make that visible for the organization and leverage that very crucial opportunity and importance around being able to see where our goods are, where they originated from, and have that available at a click of a button. So we are very excited, as I say, as a Syspro ERP provider focused for manufacturers and distributors. We are very excited to be participating in this opportunity with business, with Kenya, with the CAM Association, and really start to explore all these opportunities of how we can support each other and really help build SMEs and manufacturing embrace this new area and this new framework, which I think is a great opportunity for us to get the Africa we want. Thank you so much.
Wow, excellent, excellent. Ms. Deirdre, we appreciate that presentation. Actually, it is through technology that we will be able to achieve the Africa we want. Technology and business are inseparable in these critical times. And of course, we have been really told clearly the pandemic has put a spotlight on the importance of the success of AfCFTA. With technology, we will break the borders and limitations. We will help each other grow, expand, and explore all the opportunities available in the continent. Thank you so much, Ms. Deirdre, and thank you so much for being part of this great session. And probably this is a good time to make mention that we have a lunch voucher courtesy of Syspro Africa. So we'll be asking you a couple of questions later on. But so far, let's look at some of the comments coming in. Somebody says here, good morning, thank you for this forum. My name is Nancy. I am representing Synergy Limited. We produce organic feed and fertilizer. Okay, fertilizer, as well as manufacture fabricated sewered. Okay, I can't see clearly there. Toilets, container-based pet latrines. We would like to know under the AfCFTA, what are we exempted from when it comes to, okay, KRA, duty, tax, other levies, while exporting to other African countries? Okay, that's a question that we will hopefully get a response during the panel discussion. Another one here says, I am happy to be part of the team. My name is Samuel Ayeko from Homa Bay County, Kenya. Following the market research I did from the area I come from, I did spot a business gap and resolved to start a manufacturing industry making briquettes, but the problem I had was accessing the finance. Start that industry, which costs 2.5 million. Every lending financial institution I go to, they say that capital is too much. I need your help. Okay, those are questions that we'll respond to. But one thing that is absolutely coming clearer here is that maybe we can go to the screen once again. Let's go to the screen once again. One thing that is becoming very clear is that technology and business are inseparable in these critical times. Maybe we can show our slide as we prepare to move on to the next speaker. But before we move on, Sypro's primary focus remains on ensuring the delivery of a high-quality enterprise resource planning ERP solution and experience to the market. And to get a visual feel of what Syspro Africa is all about, let's take a look at this video.
Have you ever wondered how the icons and visionaries of our time have changed the world as you see it today? The answer is simple. It's about exploring the potential in every possibility while always moving forward, so that when preparation meets opportunity, you realize success that makes a real difference. And it all starts by simply saying yes to your next. Your next step as you expand into new geographies. Your next digital innovation leap transforming how your business operates, or your next product line that you deliver to the market. That's why at Syspro, we are committed to enabling our customers to say yes to their next in securing a digital future, one where we win together. As a trusted advisor, this is what inspires and drives us to provide support and guidance at every step of the way to empower you, the manufacturers and distributors who are changing the world. We make things possible by putting you in the best place to get to your next. Syspro, say yes to next.
Syspro, say yes to next. Now, for us to give us to now get a clear understanding of our discussion on the African Continental Free Trade Area, let's take a look at this next video.
The intra-African trade has stood low for the longest, and we know that now African Continental Free Trade Area will increase from the current percentage to a better percentage. Our objective is to see how this can increase by 20% plus in the next few years. The GDP, or the gross domestic product, within the 55 countries starts at a staggering $3.4 trillion US dollars. So it's a question of Kenya as a country to try and take advantage of these markets. How we're looking at these markets is how can we diversify our markets from where we take our goods currently to different destinations. And also these different destinations will come with different market products requirements. So there is heavy need for capacity building. There's heavy need also for market intelligence to understand what is required in some of these countries. Small, medium enterprises in the country form a big number of the players, even in the manufacturing sector. We're talking over 80% plus. But there is the need to address competitiveness of Kenya, because that's where the pricing factor comes in, that's where the quality factor comes in. So we must endeavor to innovate locally, to do more of a skill transfer locally, so that whatever we're exporting, the original base is Kenya as a country, so that we can remain favorable as far as the exchange rate is concerned. One thing you'll notice when the trade starts is that first of all, you continue trading with closer or neighboring countries as you move further, because the intention is to ensure that Africa as a continent is liberalized as far as trade is concerned. Over time, when we'll have better infrastructure, when we'll have negotiated our bilateral agreements as far as air services is concerned, the trade between the East African nations with the West African nations and Southern African nations will become more efficient, will increase more and more.
So there you have it. There you have it.
The intra-African trade has stood low.
We are focusing on the African Continental Free Trade Area, but specifically finance to SMEs. And right now, very quickly, we want to now move on to that place where we hear deeper in regards to the African Continental Free Trade Area. Our speaker, our next speaker, has over 20 years of banking experience with strong competencies in strategy, business development, risk management, and treasury. He has worked as general manager, specialized industries at Nova Merchant Bank Lagos, with responsibilities for business development in the oil and gas, maritime, telecoms, infrastructure, and public sector groups. He has also worked as treasurer and head of financial institutions at Diamond Bank Lagos. Please welcome Senior Advisor, Banking and Finance to the Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Mr. Emeka Uzomba. Thank you so much for your patience. Please talk to us.
Thank you so much, Johnson. And thank you, PS, for joining us. Thank you, fellow panelists. And good morning again to all the participants. I mean, it's been wonderful sitting down here and listening to the previous speakers, especially the remarks made by Ms. Joyce. It was just so good listening to her with all the passion and all the detail and information. And I can't be better or more encouraged, by the prospects of Africa going forward to riding on this free trade agreement to change the continent and improve, the economic position of her people. Like Johnson just mentioned, I work for Afrexim Bank, but I work out of the AfCFTA Secretariat in Accra full-time. And this is because of the appreciation of the importance of this initiative to Africa, that the bank thought it was very important to send somebody to go and sit there and support that trade. It's been known, there are so many free trade agreements all over the world, and even in Africa, there have been attempts, to liberalize trade and come to regional groupings, but they all haven't been very successful. And one of the core reasons has been the absence of that financing element. Because we are not negotiators, we are not trade experts. But when the experts sit down and work so hard and come up with these agreements, and codify all these standards and everything, if it's not financed, then the trade doesn't get done. Trade gets done when goods and services are traded and paid for and values exchange hands. So finance cannot be underestimated, the impact in making this agreement work. And that's why Afrexim has taken it as its main objective today, to support this initiative and make sure we get the Africa we want by the year 2063. Afrexim Bank, as you might know, was set up specifically as a trade bank by the African leaders, supported by ADB about 20 years ago. Strictly African trade finance bank, owned by the African governments to support trade. So there are so many initiatives that the bank has installed that it would have been great to discuss here, but because of time constraints, we'll talk about just one little element, the adjustment facility to support this free trade agreement. But it will be a privilege and an honor to have another session, with the Manufacturers Association and other stakeholders to present some of these initiatives so that, the awareness is also created. So talking about the AfCFTA is going to be very disruptive, is going to be very, very impactful positively, but it will not be all good news at the beginning. Like anything change, anything new, they always come with their own challenges, right? So, and one key element of this free trade agreement is the stoppage of tariffs, the opening up of markets, the liberalization of markets. So Africa will become one market. Like the previous speakers have also said, you can start up business in Kenya and supply to Egypt, to South Africa, to as far as your dream can go, as long as you're within the Africa, no restrictions. That comes with its own challenges of increasing population and competition. So if you are not the best in your game, next man, next door, or in another country, as far as possible, can just eat your lunch very, very easily. So competition will become stiff. Nations will lose revenues at the beginning. And because of this as well, the bank working with the Secretariat have been mandated by the heads of governments and states in Africa to develop an adjustment mechanism, to cushion this initial negative effects of adopting the agreement. Because if this mechanism is not put in place, then it may become a disincentive, getting countries to sign on and to trade among themselves on this agreement of no more tariffs, opening your market, free movement of goods and services, So, and that's what I would concentrate my discussion. It is going to be a very short discussion. So if I may just briefly share my screen and to help put this in perspective. Very, very short presentation, and
sure.
That I will also circulate this so that it can be sent across to members, because it's a very technical area, but I'll try as much as possible, as descriptive as possible.
Probably, if possible, maybe within 2 minutes, we'll appreciate. Go ahead.
Okay, I will try to achieve that. It's not well. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Unfortunately, not yet. We still have a problem seeing your screen.
this agreement came into force in May 2019, and at the 33rd ordinary session of the heads of state in February last year, this mandate was given to the bank and the secretariat to initiate this adjustment facility. The adjustment facility is, like I said, designed to take care of the initial loss in revenue and other disruptive financial consequences of signing up to this.
Well, looks like. Go ahead. Maybe you go ahead. Hello? Go ahead.
Hello, Johnson.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. So let me just stop share. I don't know what's going on and focus on the presentation. So, like I was saying, quickly too, it will have three pillars. First of all, is mobilization of the resources, and then of course the statute that set up the body itself, its governance, offices, locations, and all that, and its operational details. And then critically and most important to this audience, I believe, is the disbursement aspect. Okay, so how do I access this money? What can it do for me? So on the resource mobilization side, there will be four basic areas of getting this funding. There will be contribution by state parties. There will be grants, concessionary loans that will seek to get from Africa, from outside Africa, whoever wants to support this initiative to help people push on these challenges. And then there will also be a debt component that will be pure commercial based. So we go into the market there and put instruments and get investors come in and get money that will make available. But there will be a fourth non-cash component, but also very important and critical, that will come in form of technical assistance. Because with the competition that's anticipated to get more active, some countries some businesses would need more than cash. They will need skills. They will need experts to come and rework their systems. They will need people to come and train them in how to do things better than they had been doing before, but suddenly suffering because of competition. So there will be a technical component part that can bring experts, implant in your businesses to do studies, whether it's financing, whether it's engineering, anything technical, there will always be a pocket of technical experts that will help with that. The fund will have three funds. Like I mentioned, all the contributors, broken into three buckets. There will be the base fund that will just be the government. There will be another fund that will be the donors and the concessionary loan. Then there will be credit fund that will be pure commercial basis. And the structure will be, you will have an office at the secretariat that will oversee everything, but you'll have very strong link and cooperation from AfCFTA that will bring the banking aspect, the corporate finance aspect that the staff in the secretariat are not equipped and skilled to handle. And because of the protocols that also set up the secretariat, it cannot take on banking type obligations because it can have subsidiary responsibilities and obligations. So it will work very closely with AfCFTA Bank, to bring in the financing side to make sure this facility works and help the people it's intended to help.
Wow.
But because the setting up the statute will take a bit of time, drafting it, negotiating it. Right. It might take a couple of months. The heads of state have also now given the mandate to the secretariat and the bank to run an interim facility that will run like the main facility, but because there is urgency to start this program immediately. Once this has kicked off, trading has already started under AfCFTA since January. As more countries come on stream, as more countries abrogate tariffs, as the market opens up, businesses will begin to face competition and challenges. So an interim facility is already in place, run by the bank, supported by the secretariat. And you can apply for the funds today based on the existing structure and locations of AfCFTA Bank. We have branches in all the regions of Africa. There is one very close to Nairobi there in Harare. There is another in Kampala in Uganda. There is another one in Harare. We have a branch in Abuja, Abidjan, and there's a new branch coming up in Cameroon in the next 1 month or two. And of course, the head office in Cairo. If you prefer to go to the secretariat through your association, you can also send applications through the secretariat.
That's okay. Let me hold you there. Let me hold you there, Bwana Emeka, because of time. We'll come back. Hopefully, we'll have a question in regards to finance, and then possibly towards that end, you can reply with your final remarks. But because of time, just kindly allow me to come in at this particular moment. We'll be looking at some of the questions that are being asked shortly. But in the meantime, we want to move on to our next speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker successfully served. Let's have the slide there. Our next speaker successfully served as coordinator for Kenya Trade and Poverty Program in championing trade as a tool for development and fighting poverty. He chaired and convened the technical committee which drafted the Anti-Counterfeit Bill 2008 and engaged the stakeholders, and was subsequently assigned operationalization of the Anti-Counterfeit Agency and served as the first acting executive director of the agency. Please welcome Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development, State Department for Industrialization, the Director of Industries, Chemical and Mineral Industries Directorate, Mr. Julius Kirima. Over to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Wanamwakasi. Good morning, colleagues. I will join the previous speakers in highlighting some of the opportunities and the situation that we need to address to ensure that the opening up of a bigger trade environment, a trading zone, benefits the SMEs. From where I sit, we recognize that the SMEs are a critical sector in our economy, contributing to over 98% of the businesses in Kenya. And a great contributor also, particularly for the share of the manufacturing sector. To spur this sector further, there is a need to support the sector in order to grow further and give its best. We have recently come up with the micro and the small enterprises policy, which seeks to address the transitional challenges that has bogged down the sector over time. They will tell you, business environment is often described as a jungle, an hostile arena in which SMEs are made to engage in the same league with the big business. A scenario akin to putting a professional restaurant, like if you will, a Yokozuna, with a fly with a tundra. What then needs to be done to ensure that the SMEs survive? As much as we talk about many challenges, be they skills development, lack of capital, markets, there is also the problem of the ability to scan the environment and identify viable businesses. Often you find that some of these SMEs spring up out of the need to survive. They start a business, often copying from each other, and eventually they go down together. We are talking about growing businesses with a future. Businesses emerging, growing, and expanding. So it then requires peculiar skills of being able to scan the environment for viability and the sustainability of the ventures that are being created. This is an ability to interpret strong and weak market signals. It is essential to have these skills when one is thinking of engaging in a new enterprise or even expanding the existing one. Often, many SMEs lack in the skills and capacity to do this. A reason why many do not survive long enough to enter the growth phase. And this is where government comes in and the stakeholders, including CAM, where we assist the SMEs to scan the trending environment for opportunities and profiling this with a view to carrying the sector along. We will do this one at the WTO level, where we look at the environment. At the local level, EAC, COMESA, and including the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, where we will seek to reduce the handles that confront SMEs. Many of them are political, a number of them are technological. And we are seeing that these small businesses will be playing within the same league within big business. Even as we talk about Africa eventually becoming a common market, we will also have other players, and the consumers are king. They will go for the best product. So what needs to be done to avail these opportunities to SMEs is to capacity build them so that they always be moving with the best and not trotting behind the others. With regard to technological forces, our SMEs must remain focused on the global economic campus in order to survive and grow. And this is particularly so in the phase of new developments and discoveries, reducing product life cycles, increasing rates of obsolescence, and the rates of technological diffusion. Businesses must be able to engage on this new business platform, being able to plug into databases of markets. Government will continue to support the sector to modernize and upgrade its operations in order to keep pace with emerging trends. With regard to environmental forces, environmental concerns are mounting and taking center stage in business world, with the proponents of environmental conservation and arresting climate change advocating for green growth, environmentally friendly goods and services. In turn, these have occasioned coming up with environmental policies, energy policies, and the SMEs too will be required to observe and comply with this if they are to do meaningful businesses. So SMEs must be prepared to play within these confines, but good enough government is determined to continue supporting the sector to adjust in response to this development. For this is where opportunities lie, to plug in and do business. For instance, compliance with the maximum residue levels, whether you are talking of agro-processing or even exporting agricultural products, these are important, and the SMEs must be assisted to ensure that they fulfill the requirements. Regulatory and regulatory framework, legal and regulatory environment for business is getting more stringent by the day, and the SMEs have no choice but also to strive and comply. We are talking of national employment registrations, for example. We are talking about health issues, intellectual property, SMEs. Quite often, many of them have been accused of engaging in counterfeiting, perhaps out of sheer ignorance. A number of them too have lost out on their IPs. So there is a deliberate effort to ensure that this information is available to the SMEs. Government initiatives in support of SMEs in Kenya, for the SMEs to be able to tap into the opportunities we are seeing, the opening up of Africa as a common market will avail. Governments are engaged in supporting SMEs at the local level. Currently in Kenya, we came up with this micro and small enterprises policy, which prescribes a number of interventions, among them being enhancing accessibility to affordable finance. And alongside that, there has been an initiative to come up with the funding for SMEs, tailor-made for SMEs, with this currently some 7 banks signing up into this program, which goes with the credit guarantee scheme launched on 8th December last year by the National Treasury. So we anticipate that this one will play a critical role in alleviating one of the challenges that has bogged down the sector for many years, financing. We also note that in this country and the region, there is also informal sector credit mechanisms, such as rotating credit schemes, self-help groups savings, and goodwill from friends and relatives, which remain an invaluable source of finance for SMEs. We shall continue to work with the sector stakeholders to graduate and formalize them for enhanced business opportunities. On market expansion opportunities, we are saying yes, the African Continental Free Trade Area and the agreement therein presents vast opportunities for SMEs across various sectors. We will support the sector to exploit these opportunities through access to information relating to products and inputs, compliance with the standards. In this case, we will be doing market profiling for the destination markets and communicating these ones to the respective would-be beneficiaries. We will assist the sector with their products and the service standardization and the certification procedures. And we will also support them to engage in the actual manufacturing by way of facilitating provision of work sites, engaging in negotiations and creating an environment for which SMEs can drive businesses by engaging in subcontracting with the big business for them to supply components. We will continue supporting them in trade fairs, both local and international, such as those we have been organizing in collaboration with the sectors Juakari and Gubukasi from Tanzania. We shall continue to engage with our partners in EAC to promote regional projects that have substantial local content to engage SMEs.
Thank you.
We will also
go ahead.
Be keen on continuing to improve our business environment. And so far we are doing very well, coming down to number 61. We have a target of bringing it down to below 50 soon. So we'll work with the stakeholders to make sure that the environment within which SMEs operate continuously improves. I submit.
Thank you so much, Mr. Julius Kirima. We appreciate indeed growing businesses with a future requires peculiar skills. And of course, we celebrate the contribution of the government, making sure that SMEs are at the forefront in developing not only our country, but the whole of the continent. Right now, very quickly, because of time, thank you so much, Bwana Kirima. We'll move on. We were expecting the Principal Secretary, State Department of Trade and Enterprise Development, Ambassador Johnson Weru, but to speak to us. But for now, we have, on behalf of the chief guest, we have the Micro, Small and Medium Authority CEO, Mr. Henry Ridha. Please talk to us, Bwana Henry.
Thank you very much, Johnson. Mr. Emeka Uzo.
Apologize, we have a bit of a technical hitch there. We cannot hear you clearly. All right. Unfortunately, maybe we will come back, but maybe we can look at some of the comments that are being shared. We had some comments and even questions, and there was actually one directed to you, Bwana Emeka. Mr. Emeka, if you're still there. There was a question directed to you, but let's look at some of the comments first coming in. All right. So let's see. Okay, so somebody says here, why isn't CAM encouraging local industries to grow by lobbying for tax exemptions? Okay, tax exemptions and lower interest rates from the central bank, like other governments like Tanzania. And of course, Ms. Joyce is still here, so she will be able to respond to that question later on. Another one says, how is CAM addressing SMEs in rural areas and their need to innovate and be connected to the SME network that you handhold? To quote Ms. Joyce. So Ms. Joyce, please get ready to respond to those questions. Here's a question to you, Bwana, Mr. Emeka. Can you please share with us the type of enterprises that have been that have benefited from Afrexim Bank? What are your major successes, and can SMEs contact the organization directly? Perhaps let's take that question before we move on to the panel discussion. Mr. Emeka, did you get that question? Do you have any successes? Yes. Okay, go ahead. And then perhaps you can also give your final remarks. We cut you earlier on. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Johnson, and thank you, panel participant, for the question. Like I briefly said, Afrexim Bank is a Pan-African bank. It is a very large bank headquartered in Cairo with 5 or 6, the 6th branch is going to come on now. So Afrexim Bank interventions are usually through local financial institutions. So today we have vetted and signed on about 500 African banks through which we distribute our products. So if you want to access any product from Afrexim Bank, whether you're a large corporate, a multinational, or even a small SME, we have several interventions that suit different classes of businesses. Walk into your local bank and mention that you want to access Afrexim Bank. There's a very good likelihood that a local bank should be one of these 500 banks that are already pre-qualified that work with Afrexim Bank, and they will get in touch with us. But aside that, for the fact that I'm participating at this event, you can take my detail from the organizers and call me or write me an email, and I can engage with you and guide you properly on how to access the financing you require. Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed for that brief. And of course, since you're part of this virtual forum, and we want to celebrate the partnership that we have with Syspro Africa, you can just check your chat box, and all the details that you need will be given courtesy of Emeka Uzomba. So you don't want to miss that. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, we want to move on to that place. We want to move on to that place where we can get to now your questions. And we have a very critical panel team here that is ready to respond to some of the questions that you have. But just to give you a brief, the AfCFTA is an agreement between African countries that gives traders, business people, and service suppliers an opportunity to engage in borderless trade. Ladies and gentlemen, our first panelist is Mr. Manasseh Oiro, CAM Trade and Policy Manager. He represents CAM in Kenya's National Trade Negotiation Council and sits in the committees on rules of origin, trade in services, trade facilitation, trade in goods and investments, and is actively involved in the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area as a representative of the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, Bwana Manasseh. Mr. Manasseh, thank you so much. My first question, even as you give your opening remarks, without a doubt, the AfCFTA will provide an open market for SMEs. But the big question is, how can we enhance the production and performance of SMEs so that they're ready to take part in this great opportunity?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Johnston. I'm very glad to participate in this forum. Just to answer your question, the SMEs will enhance their productivity. First of all, through creating linkages with the large companies that are already participating in the actual trade across borders. So through these linkages, they'll be able to learn peer-to-peer learning from the large companies, and they'll be able to enhance their skills and enhance their capabilities to conduct market intelligence and find markets for their new products. Besides that, we as CAM have laid a lot of emphasis on skill development through technical TVET training, that is the technical vocational training, and through on-the-job training, which gives practical experience to the SMEs on what needs to be done in product development. So that is 2. Then 3, there is the need to streamline the regulatory environment so that it can be conducive for the SMEs to operate. We all know the reason why we have a lot of informality in the Kenyan economy is because of the stringent conditions for business in Kenya, right from the taxation at national level to the county level, and the other regulatory requirements from the regulatory institutions. So productivity can be enhanced if we find a way to strike a balance between regulation and compliance. We mean that we need to reduce the cost of compliance with the regulation. And the most important thing is for the regulatory institutions also to find a way of enhancing their work through promoting compliance, aiding the SMEs to comply, rather than penalizing them for non-compliance. That is another way to enhance productivity, because production is interrupted whenever there is a lot of penalties involved, when there is non-compliance and that kind of thing. Then we should also be able to build on existing capacities from the SMEs. We know that the SMEs, they also have capacity. They have existing capacity based on some of them, their talents, some of them their previous experience. So we should also find a way of building on this existing capacities to enhance their productivity. So basically, those are the few points I may highlight.
Right.
But overall, I think productivity can easily be built if we address the issues I've mentioned. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much indeed. And just to appreciate what you've said, skills development is important, reduce the cost of compliance to regulations, encourage rather than penalize. Now, moving on to our next speaker, Resins. Resins is the largest manufacturer of synthetic resin in East and Central Africa. Since 1982, Resins has been setting standards by providing a variety of durable, reliable, and dependable solutions, and with a very powerful key tagline here: quality in every drop, proudly Kenyan. And this was really powerful. And to talk to us is Miss Mira Shah, CEO, Resins. And Miss Shah, as a player in the sector, and I really want to also speak to the fact that you've encountered Syspro as a system. As a player in the sector, what has been your experience in exports to other African countries?
Thank you so much for this platform. As a player in the sector, we do export from Resins to many other countries. And definitely we have opportunities and challenges on the way. As an entrepreneur, we look at business in twofold. One is cost and time. So anything to do with time costs us, and anything to do with time makes us not competitive. So in terms of exporting to other African countries, definitely there's some challenges which I will highlight very briefly and not into too much detail. The policy and the red tape to move material across borders is always a challenge, the paperwork. As a government of Kenya, we've come a long way. There were times when we were doing physical verification. It would take 4 days to, release a truck from here to maybe going Uganda, Malawi. But now everything has been taken online. So technology plays a very big role in what we do. So even the customs have invested heavily in the border controls and how we can track our trucks, whether they're here, whether at the border, so technology and how we move trucks. But looking at what the world is moving to as a continent, as a nation, there's still room for improvement on how fast we can get our material across borders. The other one is currency, exchange rate, and cash flow problems. Now, if you're not part of the exporting nation, you will probably don't understand this, but when we export to places like Burundi, Tanzania, they still have currency challenges, which affects us as business people because you want to sell goods, but you can't keep selling it if you're not going to get returns on currency. So dollar availability is still a big challenge in some of the nations surrounding us. The other one is on cash flow. Like if you do exports to certain countries, KRA, you become into a VAT refund position. So do we as a nation have a strict policy on how we are refunding this money back to the SMEs or the manufacturers on time? Because it leads into liquidity problems. So if your local sales are more than your export sales, then you're okay in terms of your VAT position. But when you're doing more export sales, your VAT becomes unbalanced and there's no strict mechanism on the return positions. The other one is on financing. I think it has been said by all the speakers before me that financing plays a big role in being competitive on the global nation. So are we really competitive compared to the African nations? Is our base rate for borrowing the same as what it might be in South Africa? I would really question our cost of borrowing because it is very high compared to the other nations. So are we on a fair playing ground? I would think twice before saying yes. In terms of supply chains, as I mentioned, cost and time are two key ingredients in being competitive. So our supply chains, our port problems, yes, we've come a far way in putting the SGR. Do we have enough to support the nation if we open our borders to the African nations in terms of supporting the supply chain, the material coming in? Is it coming on time? Do we have the infrastructure? So those are some of the things that we talk about as businesses and some of the things that impact us directly when we're doing the day-to-day operation. The other thing is, yes, as Resins, we do boast about our quality. So quality in terms of the global market, are we competitive? Are we able to make better quality products than what the global world has to offer? Also technological advancements in terms of machinery, the way we are manufacturing a certain product. The world has advanced and put R&D into so many areas. Are we there yet? Have we invested heavily in making products the right way with the right mechanism? So those are some of the things that us manufacturers always talk about. And do we have the support from the government that we need? In terms of customs and culture, also the other one is cost of energy. To do any manufacturing in any part of the country, you need to be supported by basic necessities like energy, water. Do we have the infrastructure, the right government areas to support the manufacturing industry with those things? The other one is for the African nations to be opened up. To cross borders, there's things like the bond that was involved. So do you have to put down a bond every time your material crosses one border? Is that going to be a hindrance for us to open up trade across borders? So to be part of the manufacturing industry in a very small way in Kenya, there's a lot of questions that go through our mind in terms of being entrepreneurs, that are we ready to, yes, there's going to be growth, there's going to be bigger market to serve, there's going to be very stiff competition. All those are exciting things to look forward to. But at the same time, when we look at the things that we still need to work on as a nation, I think the list is longer, and we as a country have the resources, we have the capabilities, but are we really thinking about those things and to put proper systems in it?
Allow me to cut you short, because we have questions that have already been posted. But before we get to the questions, and then you will also give us more information, let's move on to our next panelist. Our next panelist is Mr. Josiah. Thank you so much, Ms. Shah. Our next panelist is Mr. Josiah Kiplangat, a senior research and policy officer at the Kenya Bankers Association Center for Research in Financial Markets and Policy. He's widely published in financial economics, and his research work focuses on the intersection between finance and macroeconomics. Because of time, as you give us your opening remarks, we have seen banks currently developing programs to support SMEs. Will these initiatives really steer SMEs to access AfCFTA? Please unmute on your side. We can't hear you.
Sorry for that.
Excellent.
I was saying that on behalf of the Kenya Bankers Association, I want to really appreciate the efforts by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers for the invitation to take part in this very important conversation, especially one of access to finance, which is now becoming very prominent in every conversation, in part due to the realization that economic recovery going forward will be anchored by ensuring the vibrancy of the SME segment. And appreciating that ours is a bank-led financial system, banks remain and will continue to grease the wheels of SMEs. And the Africa Continental Free Trade Area provides such an opportunity for collaboration between MSMEs and banks. And indeed, a number of programs have been put up to try and build capacity within the SMEs. And as Honorable John Kirima indicated, quite a number of the SMEs are not yet at the growth stage. And therefore, there are a number of programs, both bank-led and industry-led, that aims to enhance the capacity of these enterprises to be able to access finance, and also from a financial management perspective. Because I must say that access to finance must balance between the risk and returns, and therefore the need for capacity building becomes very important before they can access finance. And as an association, we have launched the Inuka Enterprise Program, which is meant to really support the SMEs in their capacity building and to optimize their operations with a view to enhancing their productivity. And to date, I can say that this program has been successful with a reach of over 12,000 MSMEs spread across the country. And further in 2019, we did launch a marketplace under the Inuka Enterprise Program. And these are programs basically seeks to help the learners to the free trade area provides an avenue for the same. Moving on to the kind of solutions that would ensure that there is access to finance, one of the things that had been mentioned again by Julius Karima was the government support programs through the credit guarantee scheme. And there are 7 participating banks in this program. And the view of this program is to de-risk the SMEs, or to try and lower the risk of the SMEs, and providing partial guarantees to institutions that are lending to these critical segment of the economy. So perhaps to the SMEs, it's not clear upfront that they are benefiting from this program, but the government is partially guaranteeing and therefore enhancing access to credit. The other kind of intervention and program that the industry is looking at is leveraging on information technology to be able to develop SME products that are linked to mobile banking, and quite a number of initiatives on this front currently underway to be able to support this segment. Other mechanisms, such as improving the credit information sharing mechanism, so as to reduce the information gap between lenders and the SMEs, is also one way in which access to finance would be picking up momentum going forward. In addition, banks and the industry in general are also getting into arrangements with multinational institutions such as the International Financial Institution, the World Bank and others, to provide partial guarantee schemes combined with technical assistance and lines of credit that would be able to benefit the SMEs. And to further try and address the information gaps between the SMEs, the association this month is carrying out a survey that is aimed at bridging the information gap between the SMEs, and therefore be able to develop products that are suited to the SMEs. So in a nutshell, those are the kind of interventions, programs, and solutions that the industry is working on to ensure increased access to finance by the SMEs.
Right. Thank you so much, Bwana Kiplangat. We just have one final panelist, and then we'll look at the questions that are coming in, loads of them indeed. Our next panelist is Mr. Richard Ipero, the Director of Strategy Planning and Coordination at the Micro and Small Enterprises Authority, Kenya. He's an accomplished finance, credit, risk, and strategy professional with over 14 years of experience in credit management, risk management, strategic planning, agricultural financing, fundraising, and, of course, micro and small enterprises operations and cooperatives management. Welcome, Mr. Richard. Of course, SMEs continue to experience challenges affecting their progress. And the question really is, with AfCFTA providing an opportunity for SMEs to get a larger market, are Kenyan SMEs ready to participate? Are they really ready to participate in these markets?
Thank you so much, Johnson. Thank you, Cam and other stakeholders for the opportunity that you've given us as INSEA to participate in these very, very, very important engagement and discussions in as far as micro and small enterprises that are concerned and taking advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. So we are really honored to participate in this discussion this morning in a matter that is critical to our hearts as an institution from where we are seated. Being a government agency, which is a creation of an act of parliament, we have a primary mandate of assisting MSEs really to take advantage of existing opportunities in Kenya, in the East African region, and Africa at large. And therefore, we have a role, we have a primary role in contributing positively to the growth of MSEs in terms of ensuring that they grow, upward growth, and also that they expand their operations in Kenya and beyond. Now, to respond to whether MSEs are prepared to participate, are they ready?
Yes, are they ready to participate?
Yeah, I think the position is that they are not entirely prepared to participate in the market. Partially, they are. We believe that there's strong need to really create awareness among the MSCs of the existing massive opportunities that have been created by the agreement. There's need really to bring on board MSCs to understand the opportunities that the agreement is presenting to the MSC sector in Kenya. There's need also to make MSCs aware of the challenges that the agreement is likely to pose. I'm also looking at from a perspective of there's need to look at our infrastructure as a country in terms of a transport infrastructure that affects the cost of production, in terms of other enabling aspects like electricity and cost of production, that really is a key input to production. And this is and also remembering that the market is now one. We have one market for Africa.
Right.
Being one market means then we have to up our game as MSCs. And as a regulator, we have a role in ensuring that we provide an avenue whereby our MSCs are competitive enough to take advantage of especially the market that has been presented.
Absolutely. Let me stop you there. Let me stop you there because we have several questions here. And I want to quickly, kindly, let's now address the questions. Thank you so much for your questions. And please, on the chat box, the best way to do it is direct your question to a particular panelist. That will really work. And there is one here for you, Bwana Manasseh, Mr. Manasseh. How is CAM addressing SMEs in rural areas and their need to innovate and be connected to the SME network that you handle? Bwana Manasseh, Mr. Manasseh.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for the question. CAM is making a lot of efforts to reach out to the SMEs out there through our recruitment activities. And we are particularly interested in the SMEs that are not only in Nairobi, but also those that operate in the outskirts and in the rural areas. So what we are doing is that we have outreach. We normally do outreach, and we normally engage in recruitment of new members across the country. This is across the board, whether they are SMEs, whether they are large companies. But now that the question was directed to,
yes, and of course, because you're here, and please kindly put on your screen so that we can actually see you as you respond.
Maybe I need some assistance from the host because I'm trying to put it on, but I'm unable to put it on. Maybe the host can assist.
All right. Apologize for that. But in the meantime,
yes.
Fantastic. There you are. There you go.
Yes. So we normally have our chapters. We have our chapter representatives who are able to reach out to the SMEs that are not within Nairobi, and all of them are involved, updated on our activities, and they're quite they're opted in on what we are doing and our lobbying activities that are meant to uplift the SMEs. So our chapter representatives are quite active in this area. Unless there's a specific issue that needs our attention, I think this is an area that has been well addressed by our chapter representatives. Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed. Thank you so much. I want to go back to you, Ms. Mira Shah. You, of course, responded in detail in regards to the experiences that you've had. But from a personal perspective, and of course, a lesson to many others out there, what are you looking to achieve in participating in the AfCFTA, Ms. Shah?
Thank you for that. Like every other company, your ambition is always going to be growth. So we're looking for obviously bigger markets to serve more customers across borders, more countries, because currently part of EAC and COMESA, we're very limited. So if we go into African nations, there'll be a lot more markets to serve. But as I said in my presentation, there's a lot of answers as a nation that we need to attend to before we are ready.
Right, right. There is indeed a lot that we need to attend to before we are really ready. And maybe move back again to Kiplangat. When you look at the AfCFTA, it will definitely link the continent, no question about it. But are local banks looking for linkages in the continent that can assist to provide finance for SMEs?
Thank you, Mwakazi. And indeed, we're looking at collaborations across the continent to ensure that there is financing for the MSMEs. And indeed, important to note is that quite a number of the local institutions have now cross-border presence, which in a way would therefore enable deeper market penetration and access to finance among those enterprises that would be able to get funding. In addition, there is also the rise of the Pan-African banks. These are banks of of African origin that are now spread across the region, and therefore those kind of synergies would therefore be critical in enabling the SMEs gain market access by being supported to really access financing, which is critical in their endeavor to seek and grow opportunities outside the country. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Good to know that there are linkages already. And I'll go back to Richard once again. You spoke about we are really not ready, but partially. But maybe the question would be, how can we better prepare SMEs to be eligible and sustainable to benefit from AfCFTA? How can we make them better prepared? Mr. Richard. All right, we're missing out on Mr. Richard there, but maybe I can go back once again to you, Bwana Manase. There are various challenges that have been highlighted in the AfCFTA. What are the mitigation methods that should be incorporated to really benefit SMEs?
Okay, we have identified quite a number of mitigation measures. And one of them we need to know is that how many SMEs do we have across the country? This kind of profiling of the SMEs by sector, by region, would help us to identify the interventions that need to be carried out, because these are unique to sectors, some are unique to regions, some are unique to many other factors. So that is one. Two, there is need to integrate the SMEs into the regional value chains. First of all, like I mentioned before, there is need to link them with the large manufacturers who will educate them on what is required to participate in the regional trade from their experience. So they would be given subcontracting through issues like subcontracting. Then they would be given opportunities to prepare some of the products that are required by the market. And that way, through learning by doing, they would be able to slowly integrate into the market. And by the time they're done, they'll have some level of proficiency and understanding of regional trade. Then there is need to increase coordination between SMEs and government agencies, so that whatever intervention that is proposed is communicated well to the SMEs, so that they have full information of what is going on and what they need to do to benefit from these interventions. Lastly, I would like to say that we need to exploit digitization, which has really given a platform for trade, and the SMEs are not left out in this. So we really need to promote the use of digitization to promote trade, and this way SMEs can be able to transit from just small-scale production to large-scale production. Those are my recommendations for now.
Right, right. Thank you. Thank you so much indeed. In fact, in an earlier point that you made, Don Odera says, Mr. Oiro, you are absolutely right. This issue of having compliance as a burden and being punitive and instead of facilitative by government agencies. But maybe if I may go to Emeka, I hope you're still there. There's a question here that is directed to you. This is Ruth Morara. She says, are there any companies in Kenya that have benefited from the financing? Are you there?
I'm sure that definitely are. I don't have the names top of my head now, but definitely there are companies in Kenya because we have done transactions with a couple of banks in Kenya and with the regional banks as well. But like I said before, Ruth can get in touch with me and she needs those details subject to disclosure restrictions. I will let her know how she can benefit from the bank.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Emeka. And of course, your details are on the chat box. Let me get back to Richard. Richard, there was a question I asked earlier. How can we better prepare SMEs? You earlier said they are partially prepared, but how can we better prepare them to be eligible and sustainable to benefit from the AfCFTA?
Thank you, Mwakazi. One is that there's need for product development initiatives targeted towards MSMEs. This is important because remember the African economy has been opened up, and therefore there's need to ensure that products that are developed are of right standard, that are able to compete with other products from other countries in Africa. So there's need for all stakeholders to channel their efforts towards improving or addressing issues of product development so that now we're able to have quality products that are sustainable and of right quality. Two, there's need to increase availability of affordable credit to the MSMEs to enable them be productive and be competitive in the cost of production. We are looking at probably having a hybrid or well-structured credit facilities that are short-term, medium-term, and long-term. And this is important because with the right resources pumped into the MSMEs, MSMEs are able to expand their business, able to start off their businesses and be able to take advantage of the existing market that has been created by the agreement. Three, there's need to simplify regulations, regulatory atmosphere in Kenya to basically to avoid long bureaucracies or procedures that negatively affect ability of local MSMEs to export their products to other countries within Africa. So there's need really to simplify the process and also to create awareness among local MSMEs to take advantage of existing opportunity. Four is that we need to increase, put framework for enhancing cooperation among exporters and between government and other players. It is very important that that linkage is created among the value chain players so that the MSMEs have the information about the market dynamics, the requirements, the required quantities, qualities, and even the right pricing for them to take advantage of the market. Collaboration is key among all players, especially in ensuring that there's information there's information flows among all the players within the African sector. There's also need to promote competitively priced inputs for their products. The inputs that are processed to get output really need to be, there's need to consider pricing of the same, because if the inputs are highly priced, for instance, energy, maybe road network and the rest, that will affect the final pricing of our commodities. That may actually affect our competitiveness. And therefore, I believe that there's need to look at having in place competitive prices of our inputs to make our players very competitive in the sector. And basically, there's need for all players in the sector, regulatory bodies like USEA, government agencies that deal in the policies, private sector players, and also MSCs, really coming down and having a framework where we're able to share information on how we can enhance our competitiveness, how we can have the right inputs to be able to assist our MSMEs to take advantage of the market that is existing.
Right, right. Thank you so much indeed for your responses. Because of time, I'll just go through these comments and then hopefully you can give us your final remarks in terms of moving forward. David Indeja says, as Kenya, we have mapped out the countries and sectors to trade. Have we mapped out the countries and sectors to trade and invest by strategizing around the priority areas for the SMEs? Secondly, what is being done on capacity mobilization, export development, and industrialization? Okay. This is another one here. Lisa Kibutu, how can the finances be offered directly to MSMEs and not through our complicated government structures? Okay, we appreciate all your comments. Ann Jerry says, how and where can the SMEs in Kenya access the application of these funds? Of course, Emeka spoke about posting a link there that you can actually begin to interact with him. Edith McKenna, Mr. Manasseh, one of the major supports you can do for cottage industries in manufacturing is delocalizing the testing centers, having access to a testing lab locally for our raw materials before even doing any production would be a major plus. Okay, so somebody is asking for your thoughts. But as you prepare for your final remarks, maybe I'll give you about 1.5 minutes each because of time. I don't know whether we're able to see the video there. Maybe let's focus on the slide there. This is a speech that was made back in the 1980s by Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso, and he was really talking about what we are talking about now. So the question really is, will we still have years to come before we realize the Africa we want? Brothers, with everybody's support, we will make peace at home. We'll be able to use Africa's full potential as well to develop our country because our land is rich. We have enough manpower and we have a very large market. From the north to the south, the east to the west, we have enough brain power to create, or at least to go and learn science and technology where it can be learned. Let's make sure that the African market belongs to Africans. Let's produce in Africa, manufacture in Africa, and consume in Africa. Let's produce what we need instead of importing. That we must accept to live the African way. It's the only way to live in freedom and with dignity. This speech was made in the 80s, and now we're having this discussion. Maybe as you give us your final remarks, will we have another 20, 30 years talking about the Africa we want, or are we really set this time round to create the Africa we want so that by 2063 it will be a different story? Maybe I can start with you, Ms. Mira Shah, your final remarks.
Thank you so much for the platform, and I think without a doubt our sponsors, the finance side, the bank and the technology, those two key factors play a role in where we take the Africa as a nation. But it's exciting times to be very optimistic. We're almost there with the fine-tuning from everybody and we should be ready to go. But definitely topics like these, forums like these is what will help us get there. So thank you to all the sponsors and the organizers, and thank you for having us. And let's keep talking about how to make it happen.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shah, and thank you for putting Kenya at the forefront. Many thanks. Let's move on to Mr. Richard Ipero, your final remarks.
Thank you, Mwakazi. The critical success factors to the realization of our dream as Kenya and Africa is one we must work together. We must collaborate. We must identify our strong areas and pursue the same. We must create an enabling environment for MSMEs to thrive. We must put MSMEs at the center of our planning. Whatever we do, we must have them. We must always feel them and work with them. Otherwise, thank you so much, Mwakazi and Kam, for this opportunity that you've given us to participate in these discussions. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much indeed. And of course, Mr. Josiah Kiplangat, your final remarks, please.
Thank you. Mine would be to try and demystify access to finance by MSMEs. And I think one of the critical things and comments that's coming up is how do MSMEs access these funds, which the government is providing partial support to the banks. I think what's important to note is that these partial or even credit guarantee schemes by the government and other multinational institutions are meant to de-risk the SMEs and therefore to guarantee the financial institutions that in the event of a default, they can recover part of that. And the arrangement is one of sharing the risk and therefore increasing the willingness of financial institutions to extend credit to these critical segments. So it's not an institution that would grant the funds directly to SMEs, but it's through collaborations with financial institutions that provide credit to these enterprises. And my last is to appreciate the Kenya Association of Manufacturers for really bringing together people within the SME space to be able to have conversations on how to support and enhance their ability to tap into the market created by the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Thank you.
So much, Mr. Kiplangat. And finally, I loved what you said here, SMEs learning by doing. Mr. Manasseh Oiro, your final remarks, please.
Yes, thank you very much to everyone who has participated in this forum. Thank you very much, KAM and our partners, Syspro and Ministry of Trade and Industrialization. I'd like to say that indeed there are challenges, implementation of.
All right.
There is goodwill to see AfCFTA work. Consistent and persistent in whatever we're doing. And we have a pathway to development of trade in the AfCFTA. As Kenya, we have an AfCFTA strategy that addresses quite a number of the issues that are being raised here, mapping out markets, profiling the markets, market intelligence, capacity building for SMEs. All these are contained in the AfCFTA strategy document. So if we keep being consistent and we keep having these dialogues, I believe we're in the right path to the success of the CFTA. Thank you very much.
Excellence. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Thank you so much. We appreciate all our panelists. And of course, please remember, technology and business remain inseparable. And that's why we really want to celebrate Syspro for making sure that we are here. And as I mentioned earlier, please wait, hold on, because we have 3 lunch vouchers courtesy of Syspro. You don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss that. Immediately after our next speaker, I will be asking you questions in regards to what we have discussed so far. And the very first people to answer in good time, real time, will stay home with their lunch vouchers. But very quickly, we were expecting Principal Secretary, State Department of Trade and Enterprise Development, Ambassador Johnson Weru. But I understand we have Mr. Henry Ridha, CEO, Micro, Small and Medium Authority. Are you there, sir? You can talk to us. All right. So maybe later on if time will allow. But in the meantime, let's appreciate this journey via this video.
many studies have been done on the value of African women to the continent and to the world, the potential that they hold for building the economy of the continent. The AfCFTA has stated that 70% of informal cross-border traders are women. In the Women in Manufacturing report study, which was the first one ever that we launched last year, we realized that 93% of women's businesses in the country are informal. So what this means for the AfCFTA with a focus on gender is that we need to have simplified trade regimes and improved customs cooperation between state parties so that we are able to improve women's chances of participating fairly within the value chains by making it easy for them to formalize their businesses. The Women in Manufacturing program is therefore alive to the fact that there are interventions that are needed in order for this to become a reality. One of these things is we need to get reliable data on the participation, the level, the patterns and the trends of women who do cross-border trade in order to then formulate policies around intervening for them. The second thing that is needed also is trade-specific technical assistance for women's businesses to enable them to plug in and participate fully and be productive within the AfCFTA. And the other thing that is needed is to make digital technology accessible to women, not just women in manufacturing, but women businesses, to make them access digital trade, not just as consumers, but as creators and producers. And the AfCFTA gives us a space and a platform for us to actually bring this to fruition and to make it come true for the women of this continent.
Wow, excellent. And I love the part on the digital platform, that we shouldn't be consumers, but we must be creators. And Syspro Africa is making that happen. And in a way to just celebrate Syspro, we are asking you very simple questions here. So get ready with your phone once again. Get ready with your phone. Get ready with your phone. We have 3 lunch vouchers just before we close, so you don't want to miss that opportunity. Grab your phone, wherever you are, win a lunch voucher courtesy of Syspro. Okay, there we go. Now, please, 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 all you have to do is go to www.menti.com. The code is 73 57 74 64. We have 3 lunch vouchers here, so go there and you'll see a thumbs up sign. Click on it. Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. Fantastic, I can see 2 people are in. My goodness, we're going to give these 2 people? 2 people, come on. Wherever you are, just grab your phone, go to www.menti.com and use the code 73 57 74 64. And we will have a lunch voucher for 3 participants. Come on, I can see 86 people participating. So, hey, you don't want to miss that. Okay, let's move. Before I move on to the first question, I don't want any person to miss this. So get ready, get ready, get ready. We are at 6 people. Okay, let's get to 10, then I'll start off with the first question. Remember, it's www.menti.com. The code is 73 57 74 64. That code again, 73 57 74 64. All right, I am ready with the first question. And please make sure that you have the instructions clearly. You start with your name, where you're watching us from, and possibly your phone number, so that we can contact you real time. So name, phone number, that is name, then phone number. Please remember your phone number. These are lunch vouchers and we want to send it to you. We want to send directly to you courtesy of Syspro. Name, phone number, then your reply. We are now ready, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, www.menti.com. The code is 73 57 74 64. We are ready with the first question. Get ready on your phone. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. In what year was the CAM SME Hub launched, and who is the current chair? Please, before you type and send, your name, your phone number, and the response. Name, phone number, and response. In what year was the CAM SME Hub launched, and who is the current chair? I know, oh my goodness, there's leakage already online, my God. Somebody can type. Are you able to Google? Oh, sorry. Am I already exposing? Okay, Anjeri, year 2019. Is that it? Oh, no, Anjeri, come on. No, that's not it. Another person, we've got 3 lunch vouchers here. Miss Flo, please remember, name, phone number, the date, and the person, the current chair. So remember your name, remember your phone number, and then give us the response. Okay, are we good? Okay, Edith Nanyuki says, Shiro Waithaka, 2021. No! Ruth Morara says, 2020, Chair Flora Mutahi. No, come on, you people. 3 lunch vouchers ready for you. Okay, Linda Mwai says, 2021, Miss Shiro Waithaka. 2021? 2021? Shiro Waithaka? Ladies and gentlemen, the right answer is already on the screen. The right answer is already on the screen. The first person to go, to stay home, or wherever you are, to get the lunch voucher courtesy of Syspro is none other than Joseph. 2019. In what year was the CAM SME Hub launched? It was 2019, and Miss Shiro Waithaka is the current chair. Well done, and we'll be contacting you soon indeed. Now, this one we will give to 2 people. But thank you so much, Solomon, for trying out. Thank you, Lisa, for trying out. We appreciate. Now, there's still a chance for 2 people here. Now, just look at your phone, www.menti.com, the code 7357 7464. All right. Name 10 countries that have ratified the AfCFTA. Wow. This one, the first 2 people, ratification of the AfCFTA. You just need 10 names. Remember, write your name, your phone number, and the response. This is a question of how quick you are in terms of typing on your phone. So the first 2 people should actually just get it right away. But please remember to indicate your name, your phone number, and the response. Don't forget that. We're waiting. We've got 2 final vouchers, courtesy of Syspro, and we don't want you to miss it, so go ahead. I know it's a long list there, but hey, we can do it. And Syspro is saying, Listen. We have the first. Whoa. They're coming hard. Okay, let's start with the first one. This is real time. So Difus Kiprop. Uganda, 1. Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Egypt, Togo. Come on, you've given us. Oh, did I miss it? Did I count Kenya? Wait. Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Egypt, Togo. There are 10. Are we good? This was a question of how fast you are. Let's go to Anjeri. Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Ghana, Nigeria, Egypt, Morocco, Swaziland, Nigeria, Zambia, Algeria. You've gone to 11. We just needed 10. Okay. Solomon, Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda, Niger, Chad, Eswatini, Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Namibia. So we have 2 there. So let's confirm. Is Difus Kiprop set? Which one did he miss out on? Did he miss out on a country there? Okay, so unfortunately, Difus. Let's move on to Anjeri. Unfortunately, Anjeri, you wrote 11 countries. Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Ghana, Nigeria, Egypt, Morocco, Swaziland, Nigeria, Zambia, Algeria. Those are 11. Sorry, Anne, but all the best. Solomon, Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda, Niger, Chad, Eswatini. Are we good? Okay, so our second participant to win a lunch voucher is Solomon. Solomon, well done. Your number is on the screen. Thank you so much. We'll contact you very shortly. Let's move on to our final participant going to get this voucher. Algeria, Angola, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, Republic of Congo, Cote d'Ivoire, Djibouti, Egypt, Eswatini. Oh, come on. You've written so many. We just needed 10. Let's go to Aden. Aden, South Africa, Sierra Leone, Namibia, Lesotho, Burundi, Kenya, Egypt, Eswatini, Mali, Ethiopia. Are we good with Aden? Let's counter check that. Are we good with Aden? Are we good with Aden? Aden. Okay, Aden, unfortunately. Let's move on to the next one. This is Kenya. You didn't put your name. Come on. We said name, phone number. Let's go to Edith Nanyuki. Wow. Let's see. Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa, Sierra Leone, Namibia, Lesotho, Burundi, Zambia, Egypt. Come on, you added another country, Ethiopia. We just needed 10. Please count the number of countries. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Don't want to miss Julia Ngahu. Says Kenya, Nigeria, Uganda, Zambia, Ghana, Chad, Niger, Mali, Togo, Egypt. Come on, you've added more countries. Let me see this one. Here. Okay, let's go to Esther. Esther, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, Burundi, Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt, Ethiopia, Rwanda. Is Esther in? Let's counter check one more time. Esther, Kenya, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, Burundi, those are 5, Nigeria, Ghana, Egypt, Ethiopia, Rwanda. Is she our final one? Well done, Esther. Esther, well done. We have your number, courtesy of Syspro. Say yes to next. Say yes to next. Many thanks indeed. We celebrate you for the participation. And right now, very quickly, we want to move on to our closing remarks. And I'd kindly call upon Ms. Nduta Ndirangu, CAM SME Development Officer, to give us the vote of thanks or closing remarks. Ms. Nduta, please.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. CEO, Mr. Henry Ritha, representing the Chief Guest Principal Secretary, State Department of Trade and Enterprise Development, Ambrose Johnson Weru, Director, Chemical and Minerals Directorate, Ministry of Industry, Mr. Julius K. Kirema, Senior Advisor, Africa Export-Import Bank, Emeka Ozuba, Syspro Africa, Head of Solutions Engineering, Ms. Deirdre, and all the panelists and participants. I wish to sincerely appreciate each one of you for taking the time to join us in the KM Syspro SME live event this morning. It is through your contribution that we have successfully held this event. From the discussion we've had here today, it is clear that the sector is keen on driving Kenya's economic growth and enhancing the participation of SMEs in AfCFTA. In return, SMEs will be able to create and sustain jobs and positively influence other socio-economic benefits. We are hopeful that we will recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and in extension contribute towards the realization of our country's development agenda. I thank our sponsor, Syspro, once again, and the organizing team from Gradale, Ms. Maria and Ms. Lavinia. On behalf of KM, I wish you a good day. Thank you.
Thank you
Over
so
to
much.
you,
Thank you so much, Ms. Nduta. We appreciate your remarks. And right now, to just close for us, just to recognize the SME Policy Officer, Joseph Wariuko, please talk to us as we close. Mr. Joseph, if you're there. Excellent, we can see you. You're muted though, please unmute. Okay, we can't hear you though. So I'd kindly request that you check on your sound there. You seem muted there. Okay, maybe you can drop the earpiece and just speak directly.
Good morning once again.
Excellent, we can hear you. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much for everyone who has participated in this forum. It is something that we are looking forward to continue in collaboration so that we can support our SMEs. We know that they have been suffering a lot. They were, before we formed the SME Hub, they were feeling that they have been left out by the other manufacturing fraternity. But now we are all on board. And as a society and economy, we are here to support one another so that we can grow together. And you can see that there are ample opportunities that are geared towards growing the industry in terms of the new opportunities, new partnership, as well as the fact that we are supporting them to address the bottlenecks that they have been having, the compliance levels, market access to finance. And I would therefore like to appreciate each one of us, and we look forward to continued engagement on any matter that will enable us as a nation to take up the opportunity that we have been granted. Asanteni sana.
Excellent, excellent, Bwana Joseph. We appreciate also your time and your valuable input. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our virtual forum, courtesy of Syspro. And if you're able to see the screen, we have the logo there, Say Yes to Next. And the clarion call here is technology and business cannot be separated. They are inseparable. And so once again, we want to say thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your questions. Definitely the CAM team here will make sure that all those questions are taken into account so that we can continue on with the conversation. Asanteni sana. My name is Johnson Mwakazi. I wish you all the best. 2063 is coming. Let us make it real. The Africa we want.
My name is Dutadi Rango from Kenya Association of Manufacturers, in charge of SME development. SME development is under KM Consulting Department, where we offer value-added services to growth-oriented and market-ready manufacturing SMEs. It is geared towards preparing, nurturing, and growing business to take full advantage and new emerging markets, frontiers both locally and international space. The growth of SMEs is dependent on a supportive environment which provides them with the resources and capacity needed to be contracted partners, servicing on an increasing share of the growing local, regional, and international demand. We must therefore continue to champion for the progress of the SME sector, especially due to its immense contribution to economic development and job creation.
I'm Barak Otieno Unga. I run Barounga Mobility Solutions. What we do, we manufacture items or mobility. We do mobility services for persons with disability, like wheelchairs, motorized tricycles, and tricycles. I also live with a physical disability since birth. I'm 60 years old now. I started this business in 1995. And what inspired me to do it, I was walking a very long distance when I used to go to work. So I just made the first one, but it was not working well, but we progressed until we reached where we are now. One advantage I have is that I'm the first one to use it, so I know all the technical challenges. It's tailor-made for the person using it. And such a person can come to you, I want this. So you have to make it according to his disability. The mentorship was good. What I discovered is that there are some small things we ignore, but they are so important in marketing and the picture somebody has just on arrival. There are very, very small things which you have to improve. Display and even how your staff talk to people. I've already started implementing. If you came to my workshop the time before Association of Manufacturers came, it was in shambles. Things were dropped everywhere. But when they came, my boys tried, they are trying now to follow exactly what they were being told. So there are a lot we learned from them. My recommendation is if you can increase the time for training, I think it will be more better. The government should stress on this small business to employ more people. Like my place, I want more people. But what I don't have is the capacity to expand. I encourage other people to get into business. But before you get into business, first of all, you have to love your work. You have to get into business to inspire more people, to employ more people and assist more people. You do something you like, you love, you always make sure that your products are equivalent to what you charge. That one, you will be able to succeed in business.